Hello everybody, today I'm back with another video, and this is going to be a tutorial about how to become the best driver that you possibly can whilst wet racing. So I'll just give you guys a bit of background about how I feel about wet racing. I mean, at first, I hated wet racing. It was hard for me, and wet racing is a scary thing to wrap your head around, but here you can see that I'm skipping so that I can show you guys me behind somebody, so you can see that the lines that I take is much different from what you would want to take in a usual dry race. So here you guys can see that I'm kind of avoiding the apexes, and just it looks like I'm searching for grip. Like, as you can see right here, that's not where you would usually be in a normal daytime session. So you can see that right there we get a big lock of oversteer and we almost put it into the barriers, but you can see due to the fact that we take an outside line where there's more grip, we get a much better exit compared to everyone else. So back to the part where I was talking about your mentality. In wet racing, having a good mentality is key, because if you don't have a good mentality about, like, if you're not confident, then you're not going to be fast, you know? And when everyone else is like, when they see that it's wet on the track and they're sitting there like, oh my goodness, it's wet out there, we're going to be slipping and sliding, it's going to be so scary, you have to come in with the mindset that you like wet racing. Even if you don't, you have to just lie to yourself and convince yourself that you like wet racing, and then you'll become the fastest, because you won't be scared if you convince yourself that you're good at wet racing, or convince yourself that you're not scared of it. So you honestly just have to go out there and be more confident than everyone else, and that'll help you to get, you know, quicker. But another thing I wanted to focus on was, like I said earlier, the lines. As you can see, we get taken out there, but having the proper line in wet racing is very key. What you want to do is, instead of staying on the rubber, you want to avoid the rubber. And what I mean by that is, rubber is usually laid down on tires, from tires, by driving over the normal racing line. And whenever you drive over the normal racing line, the tires lay down a lot of rubber on the track, and then when it rains, all that rubber becomes really slippery. So you can see that I completely avoid the normal racing line, and I even go into puddles into some corners, which you might be thinking, why would you go into puddles? That doesn't make any sense. But you can see we get a really good exit coming out of the corner where we even decide to take the puddle line. And you might be wondering, it doesn't make any sense. Well, to that I say, when you're wet racing, you have to kind of search for grip and engineer your own grip. So what I found that is, even if you take a normal racing line and someone else takes a line that's completely unconventional, like what I did there, I mean, it's going to be faster, because you're just completely avoiding the wet rubber, which means that basically when I get on the power, or when I get on the gas, I'm getting on the gas much earlier than everyone else and aligning myself for a straighter exit, which makes me faster. And there you can see someone actually spun out. I don't want to say any names, but he knows who he is. But yeah, one last thing that I wanted to talk about before I cut this video short is you need to use your natural feeling to be good at wet racing. And what I mean by that is, for your natural, you have to just know when the cart is going to slide out and when it's not. And you have to know when you need to get off of the power, or when you need to get on the power more to get the cart, more rotated. So if you can feel right here, like you can see that I'm making a lot of corrections, but that's because I can feel what's going on underneath me, which means that you have to use like sort of your butt and your bottom to tell you if the cart is going to slide out or not. And if you can feel that the cart is about to slide out, you can predict what's going to happen and make adjustments accordingly, which is key to becoming fast in wet racing. Now, there is a part of your body, and this part of your body is called the epidermis, and the epidermis has Merkel cells underneath it or inside of it, which help when you're karting, because they help with the sense of speed, and they also help to tell your brain what's going on. So basically, it gives you information about the cart, and what you need to do with that information is, if you can feel the go-kart sliding out underneath you, you need to be able to, as a driver, react to that information accordingly and react to it timely. So don't wait until the last second to start making corrections on the steering wheel. Like you can see right now, I'm making corrections on the steering wheel on the straightaway so that I can try to keep the cart as straight as I possibly can. And you can see right here, I'm still making corrections coming out of the corner, which in dry racing wouldn't make a ton of sense. But here it makes sense because anything can happen with the cart, and you want to be able to, have it under control and have it just doing what you want it to do. Like as you can see right here, I'm still making corrections out of this corner, and it allows me to get a really good exit. So that's something that's very important, is using your body to be able to tell you what's going on and to be able to tell you what is going to happen with the go-kart. But one last talking point I wanted to say before I end this kind of tutorial or just talking about wet racing is just let it all slow down for you. And what I mean by that is, don't overthink wet racing. It's not as hard as it seems. All you have to do is slow down, be calm. I mean, not slow down on the track, but let your mind, slow down and be as calm as you possibly can, because if you get any type of red mist, as they say, it will slow you down. Because honestly, in my personal opinion, when I didn't like wet racing, I would get red mist because I did not like wet racing, and it just wasn't appealing to me because I was bad at it. So I would get red mist and get very frustrated. Do not let wet racing get to your head, guys. It's not that hard if you just slow it all down and let it come to you. Now, with all that being said, you can see that here we're pulling into the pits, and I'm doing a bit of a drift going into there. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'm happy to share, my tips and tricks for racing in general, and especially topics that people aren't as educated about, like wet racing. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.